Uh, Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining in, let's kick off the session. Thanks for taking your time out. So these are some of the topics that we'll be covering today, as we announced in our Facebook post. We'll start with what we've done in the last week in terms of the app and web update. We launched the BYOD and new devices registration. We'll give you a quick update on the marketing campaign. We'll talk about BBI, the between booking insurance. We have the pricing and also the next steps for you. We'll talk about the much debated fuel policy and also hourly pricing. And finally, we'll end the presentation with an update on the roadmap as promised. All right, and Ben, if I can request you to just let me know the questions during the discussions on those topics, yeah?
No
right.
problem. As I demonstrated last week, we weren't only answering the easy questions, but throwing you the hard ones as well.
No worries. So last week, as we all know, we launched an update to the app and web wherein you were able to choose your final subscription plans and let us know if you're bringing your own device and register or you want a new device. Now we've got an overwhelming response to that. Hundreds of people have listed their cars with either wanting to bring their own device or wanting a new device. So that's fantastic. Although there are some questions that people have asked. So I'm going to take the next slide to explain and address some of those concerns. Just to recap on the plans, the JustMates plan is free of charge. You have the option to include a secondary GPS. You can either take the secondary GPS from us, or you can bring your own secondary GPS that Uber gave you. The service fee for that is $5 per month, irrespective whether you take it from us or you bring your own and integrate into DriveMate. The GoodMates plan is, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, quite a few people have asked where their secondary GPS is, where their Uber secondary GPS is. It's quite big. It's about the size of a pack of cards, maybe a little bit bigger. So have a look under your back seat, in your boot, around your spare tire. Like it will often be somewhere that's not particularly difficult to find because it's not the smallest device.
Yeah, and I think some people had this point also on raising a ticket with Uber and asking them where it is in your car. So some people have had success with that as well. The second plan is the GoodMates plan, which costs you $10 per month. It includes a primary GPS. Now, again, this $10 per month, you can either bring your own device that you had with Uber, or you can get a new device from us. Again, I want to reemphasize that this $10 per month is a service fee, the fee that we pay to the operator of the service, the fee that we pay for we charge for running that device. It's not the cost of the device. So it doesn't matter whether you bring your own primary GPS or you take it from us. You have the option of including a lockbox, which is completely BYOD only. So you can either bring your own lockbox or you can buy one from SentryLock that is available to buy. That costs you $10 a month to run on the DriveMate platform, completely integrated with the DriveMate app. And you have an option of bringing a secondary GPS again at $5 per month, right? So the max cost of the GoodMates plan is $25 a month should you want both the primary, secondary, and the lockbox. The final plan is the BestMates plan, which costs you $30 a month, includes keyless access. Again, either this can be your own device, which is the auto plugs, or you can request for a new auto plug from us till the time the new DriveMate Go 3.0 devices come in. And you have the option to include a secondary GPS, again, new or BYOD at $5 a month, right? So these are the three plans that we have, and this is quite a big, quick summary. I just taken three big themes of questions that we have received on BYOD, on these devices and subscription plans. And sorry for that spacing between me and monthly, but the first question that people ask is, why, if I am bringing my own device, why do I need to pay DriveMate? The reason you are paying is the monthly fee. There's a SIM card, there's a connectivity fee, and there's an integration fee with DriveMate. That is what you're paying, right? When you request a device from us, or when you requested a device from Uber, nobody charged you, neither Uber, neither us, nobody's charging you for the cost of the capital cost of the device. No, the only cost is the running cost of the device, because there's a connectivity charge, and that is what you're paying. And hence it does not matter whether you bring your device or you take the device from us, right? Many of you have asked, how do I ask for a new device? Very simple. If you see on your right-hand side, when you select, let's say you want a new auto plug, for example, you select your subscription plan as BestMates and do not toggle this on. Do not toggle this point on bringing your own auto plug. The moment you do not toggle this on and you have selected BestMates, we will know that you need a new device. If you toggle this on and put an IMEI number, we know you are bringing your own device, right? Now, the other question people have asked us is, when can I get the new devices on have new auto plugs installed? So the new primary and secondary GPSs will start getting delivered from end of September to you, right? New auto plug installations will start from 1st of October. Again, all of this is first come, first serve. Whoever is registered first will either get the devices first or have them installed first. If you want to buy a lockbox, there's a special page that SentryLock has built for DriveMate customers. You can go and buy it from there directly and they'll ship it to you directly. You tell us the number and we'll integrate your lockbox into the DriveMate app. It's as simple as that. What we are requesting everybody to do is to complete this registration of devices or selection of your plans by 19th of September to ensure activation by end September. You can still do this after 19th of September, but then we are not in a position to guarantee activation by end of September. It may take longer. So to ensure activation by end September, please complete all of this exercise by 19th of September. Ben, if I can ask you what are the questions right now on these devices so that I can address them straight away?
Yeah, there's two great questions already. Is it going to be quicker to BYOD or request devices from DriveMate?
Yeah, if you have your own device, there's no point of requesting it from us. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to get a new device from us if you have one. I would recommend you use what you have. However, what could be a case is that you have a primary GPS, but you want to migrate to auto plugs. Now, if you want to migrate to auto plugs, you might as well select auto plugs straight away, BestMates straight away, and wait for us to send you the device, right? In case of migrations, I understand, but if you, let's say, have a primary GPS and want to stick to GoodMates, yeah, then don't request a new device. We'll just activate it first. Activation will happen quicker versus getting your new device. So that I can already tell you.
There's a good question about how the Uber car share lockboxes charge. It says Cameron says it's a mystery to me. I must say I've got 4 of the lockboxes and it's a mystery to me as well. Do they take a battery?
How do they charge?
Yeah.
They have a battery.
How do they charge?
They have a battery.
How long does it last?
So it's a pretty long life battery. So what if you go to the SentryLock lockbox page, they're supplying the battery along with for a nominal charge, they're supplying the battery along with the lockbox, right? And I think it's a few years of life. And maybe we can note down this question. We can check with SentryLock and come back to you as to what is the lifetime of the battery. But of course, it is a battery powered device.
Yeah.
So
do we know how much the SentryLock lockboxes are going to cost to purchase from SentryLock?
Yes. So if I know right now, for the first 6 months, they have put in a price of $100 US for the device. It was supposed to be 125, but for DriveMate customers, they're doing 100, and the customers pay them directly. Customers don't pay us, right? You pay them directly. Yeah, you can check all the details on this page.
Oh. Let's push on.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yep.
Is there any other question that I need to take, Ben, right now?
No, keep going. I'll put my hand up when there's a question for you.
Okay, cool. Some other points on the device management. You will only be charged when the devices go live by end of September. You will not be charged before that. That's a guarantee. You have been asked your credit card details only because we don't want to be rushing to ask your credit card details at the time of device activations. What will happen is we'll charge, get the device activated, charge, get the device activated. That's how it's going to go. I again want to reiterate that the must-have GPS policy only kicks in from 1st of October because many of you are waiting for GPS devices from us. So we are not insisting on a must-have GPS policy for theft insurance. So till 1st of October, even if you don't have a GPS, your car is still insured for theft during a DriveMate trip, even if it doesn't have a GPS, because you're waiting on a GPS from us. Now, please ensure that you unplug the auto plug from your OBD ports. Do not uninstall them, right? Leave your primary GPS dongle and the secondary GPS dongle on. Remove your keys from the logbox. And what we can only integrate is Bluetooth Sentry log boxes. A lot of people have asked me on the beige colored log boxes, not the dark blue ones. Sorry, because the dark blue ones are essentially bricks because they don't talk, they don't communicate with the outside world, so they don't know that they need to work with the DriveMate app. But the Bluetooth ones, yes. So if you have provided your logbox code to us, the logbox number to us, we are already, the team is already handling your integration. Moving on to, shall we move on, Ben? If there are no pressing questions on this.
Yeah, there was one question I was asked yesterday. I know a few Uber hosts have been caught with their keys trapped in the lock boxes. Are we going to be able to help people open their lock boxes before October 1?
Yes, we are trying right now. If you have a Bluetooth SentryLock lock box, if you have one, beige colored one, and your key is stuck inside, I would recommend you to register your lockbox with us sooner than later. Our team may, again, I'm not committing anything, may be able to activate the lockbox before 1st of October for you to open that lockbox and take your key out. Okay, shall we move on?
Yep.
Okay, a quick overview on the marketing campaign we released on September 12th. So as you can see, the DriveMate is being positioned as car sharing for everyday Aussies. We also released a small video.
I might just jump in and look. Thank you to all the hosts who gave us feedback both publicly and privately about the campaign. We take everything on board. No good ad campaign would ever keep everybody happy. But the early performance statistics of this campaign are positive. The metrics are positive. It's too early to really say, but we're obviously monitoring it very closely. We already made a couple of tweaks on the creative, and please just know that all feedback is listened to. If we don't change something, it doesn't mean we haven't listened. It just means that we're sticking to our guns, and a lot of thought and a lot of love went into building this campaign. But this is not a one-shot deal, and we're not going to have these ads on high rotation indefinitely. We've got several more iterations of this campaign as it rolls forward, which we will share as they go live.
Right. So somebody just said they cannot register the logbox. So whoever has had this problem, please, can you just write into a support team and we will have this looked into straight away. Yeah. So there might be some technical issues that you faced while uploading your logbox code. So very happy to resolve it. Either you put it on you send up some message to on the DriveMate car owners group, or just send it to a support team and we'll get that sorted. Just continue. Sorry.
No, there were just a couple of people asking if that $100 for the lockbox includes shipping.
No, the shipping is on top of it.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, quick. We also, of course, as you can see, along with the campaign, you would have seen a lot of PR around DriveMate. So a lot of this is organic PR. Some of this is what we are working with our PR team. So the idea is to, as you can see, build demand as we have promised, not just performance marketing, but also organically building demand, and that's what we are trying to do here. So pretty good traction for DriveMate on PR, and you'll keep seeing this in the next few days to come.
When we send this presentation around later, all of these articles here are hyperlinked. These are we've just grabbed the headlines. And I think one of the key points with this PR coverage is you'll see it's run in all states. It's run in the Daily Telly, the Courier Mail, the Herald Sun, the Gold Coast Bulletin, the Northern Territory News, Geelong Advertiser, and this isn't all of them, by the way. It went nationally. And that's something that's very important to us. You know, we want to be able to cater to hosts and guests in all states. There's quite a lot of people asking the same question, which is that the app is only letting them register one device. Guys, that's not the plan, and that doesn't sound right. So please let us take that offline. And if there's something that we haven't explained properly, we will clarify that a little bit later. And if there is a little bug, then we will get it fixed very, very quickly and get back to you.
Yeah, it also actually depends upon, let me just go back and let me just try and see what, explain this one more time and if it works well, right? So the moment you select, let's say you want to add a logbox, for example, right? Now, the moment you select GoodMates, right, you have an options at the bottom on selecting add-on. So the moment you select GoodMates and you select the logbox add-on, right, you save it, you go back to the top left, select device management. And once you come there to device management, you should be able to add your primary GPS and the logbox details in. If you're not seeing that right now, which is the help video we shared, we're very happy to help you on the support side. Please send your details to support@drivemate.au. Again, let me, support@drivemate.au. If you were to do that with your details, we'll fix it for you straight away. Just send your details on support@drivemate.au. Yeah, the team will take care of it.
Beautiful.
Coming back to now, very important topic, which is between booking insurance that all of you have been waiting for. The between booking insurance is ready for launch. And one thing I want to apologize is that last time we had said that you will be able to make the selection of BBI as we're calling it from 16th of September, that is today. Unfortunately, that selection can only start from 20th of September in the app. So the policy anyways goes live on 1st of October. In the app, you will be able to select for your cars BBI starting 20th of September, which is this Friday. There will be 3 price levels. So a starting price level is not 130, guys. That's good news. Its starting price level is 120. 120, 130, and 140. There are 3 price levels for BBI for any car. This is including GST, right? There's no GST on top of it. Now, there are a few factors on which will determine the price of BBI for your car. Your vehicle value, right? Whether your vehicle has a dash cam or the number of claims your car has had, which are greater than $1,000 in the last year. Once you enter this information, the system will throw up either 120, 130, or 140, depending upon the answers that you give to your question, right? To these questions. And once you have answered those questions, you select BBI. The policy only goes live from 1st of October, but our team will send you an insurance policy automatically after you have signed up for your car. And then your policy goes live on 1st of October. Please note that is only applicable for cars which have been selected on which have chosen BestMates. It is not applicable for JustMates, GoodMates, or GoodMates or Lockboxes. Nothing. It has to be BestMates. Now, you need not have the device installed yet, because some of you are waiting for device installations, and we understand. So either your device is installed or you're waiting for installation. But your car should have selected BestMates for your car to select BBI in the app. And the last limitation on BBI is it is not applicable for cars which are greater than $70,000 in value, 70,000 Aussies in value. So again, 3 factors the price depends upon: claims, dash cams, and current red book value as per you. Currently, we don't have a red book integration straight away, but by next month, we will have the red book integration. So we will automatically pick up your car's value. But till that time, you can indicate to us what do you understand of your car's value. And yeah, that's how the BBI thing will work. Just like last week, you were able to select your BestMates, GoodMates, or JustMates plan along with the device IDs in the app. Similarly, starting 20th of September, we'll release an app update wherein you will be able to select BBI for your cars. And again, it will be at a car level. So again, if you have 10 cars, so you'll have to say, okay, this car I want BBI, this car I want BBI, this car I don't want BBI. So that's something that you'll have to do. Then I will take some questions on BBI right now. I'm pretty sure there are a few.
Actually, the majority of questions are still on lockboxes. So
Sure,
look,
I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to answer them. That's fine.
yeah,
Let's
I
do
think
that. Let's answer this question.
sorry, maybe I rushed that a little bit.
Let's take
Will
the
we
questions. Let's take a
will
step
we
back.
be
We'll
able,
call the question.
will we be able to generate the shackle code for the lockboxes the same way that Uber did? So that's not to open it, but to move it.
I'm sorry. What is the shackle code?
The shackle code is the code that removes the if your lockbox is hanging on a fence and it's got the sort of padlock style top, the shackle code allows you to remove that and move the lockbox to another location.
Yeah, I'll have to come back on that. I am not aware of this, so we'll have to come back on that. Let's make a note of this question.
I think, look, there's lots of really detailed questions on lockboxes. I think rather than bog this session down with them, someone said, can we do a fact sheet on lockboxes? I think the answer is a huge yes. We will
100%.
do that. Give us a week or two to do that. We will cover off every question, every detail on the lockboxes.
No. So I don't think we have to wait a couple of weeks. I think all your questions, all your detailed questions, the agenda of this meeting is to answer your questions, right? It's not to push your questions from one session to the other. If there are a few more questions on lockboxes, I'm happy to answer them, Ben, right away.
There's a few questions on charging lockboxes, look, which we're going to get into. Another question on whether the beige or the blue, and the answer, unfortunately, is only the beige. The blue lockboxes we can't make work.
Yeah, so those we can't make work. I think we have one more question as that UCS used to take fees out of the earnings opposed to credit card. Can you guys do that after the initial fees? The answer to that question, JP, is possibly yes, but we can only do that once we move to monthly payouts, right? Because then we'll have to deduct your charges from your monthly earnings, right? As we have said in the roadmap, the monthly payouts will start happening from end November. So then we will move to try and move away from credit cards. But till that time, the credit cards things will work. Steph has a point which says when the Autoplug new devices are installed, I heard we'll have to destroy a second key to get the chip needed. Is this true, or will we? Yeah. So Steph, ideally, so we will take, so Autoplug installation costs you $100, right? That's the manpower cost. Any other cost associated with the Autoplug, which is with the key chip cloning, that is on DriveMint, right? So DriveMint will take care of that cost. So yes, the chip has to be cloned. If you have a third key, please help us with that. If you don't have a third key, we will make a clone of the chip and we will install the device in the car. Yeah. So that should be okay.
Let's do one more on lockboxes. Chris says I've got 2 lockboxes from UCS, but only 1 car listed on DriveMate. Can I register my second lockbox and GPS in advance of listing a second car down the track with DriveMate? Good question.
Yes, you can.
Cool.
And also the last point is somebody said, okay, and on the BBI, I see somebody said that, is there an option to update the policy for dashcam is installed at a later date? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. So if you do choose to install dashcam later, please let us know in the app and your pricing will change. Then, because dashcams, again, we have not cooked up these questions. This is as per what we've worked with the insurance company. So if you do get a dashcam, your pricing will definitely be different, right? So dashcams really help on BBI pricing.
And a good question on dashcams: will the dashcam itself be covered?
That's a very good question, and I would not risk answering that right now. Let me take that question back.
Yeah, no problem. There's a very good question from Cameron around BBI plans with a per kilometer policy, but similar to COBA. We'll talk about kilometers and stuff when we get to fuel. So let's hold that question till a little bit later.
Yeah. Yeah,
cool. Let's push on.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now let's come to the topic that everybody wanted to discuss, which is the fuel policy, right? Over the last 3 weeks, one policy which has been hugely debated is the fuel policy. Now, these are the three concerns that we understand from hosts, right? I saw some of the people saying on the Facebook group saying the guests do not return vehicle at the same level. It is very difficult to check pre and post fuel gauge photos for every trip, especially for fleet owners, right? And finally, it's difficult to manage for shorter trips where guests drive less than 100 kilometers. So your fuel, actually the fuel tank gauge literally doesn't move. So it's very difficult for you to determine how much fuel was used. So these are the three big concerns that we have understood from hosts. Now, since these three are the concerns, there are a few solutions in progress, right? Do we have all the solutions today? No. But do we have a solution in progress which will be launched shortly? The answer to that is yes. And that is what we are going to discuss today. We will not have all the details, but we have pretty exciting updates on how we are going to handle this. So there are two ways we are going to handle these issues that you have raised. The first is that we will automate fuel shortage charging to guests. Basis mandatory fuel level indication by guests. So I will show you how we will mandate to the guests to indicate fuel level in the app at pickup and drop off. If there is a discrepancy between levels, automatically a ticket will open and we'll auto charge the guest. The second part of that solution, and wait for it, we'll launch an add-on called Fuel Inclusion from 1st of November. Fuel Inclusion will be an add-on where guests can choose to pay for fuel rather than fill fuel. It will be mandatory for shorter trips, and it will be optional for guests for longer trips. And I'll explain that how it works in a second. But let me first take these two solutions one by one. What do I mean by automated fuel charging? So currently what happens is that guests have to take a picture of the fuel gauge, right? So our system doesn't automatically know what is the fuel level. Now, we are coming up, and there have been a lot of questions on pickup and drop-off flow. By the end of this month, there will be a new pickup and drop-off flow. And if any of you is interested in beta testing that flow, very happy to let me know on Facebook if you want to join that beta testing. But one part of that pickup drop-off flow is that guests will have to indicate it on this app at what level did they pick up and what level did they drop off. They have to indicate it at check-in and check-out. So this is part of a revamped check-in checkout, which is the pickup drop-off flow. And of course, this is in addition to the fuel gauge photos. If let's say they indicate 100% and at the exit they indicate 50%, we will charge them automatically for the 50% at the end of the trip. Now, your question would be, how will you know how much fuel is 50%? Because I have a BMW X5 whose fuel tank is bigger versus a Toyota Corolla whose fuel tank is smaller. So half fuel tank is different for a Toyota Corolla versus a BMW X5. Also, a BMW X5 has diesel, Toyota Corolla has petrol, the pricing is different, and blah, blah, blah. So yes, and yes, and yes. At the back end, we will have a full mapping of the fuel tank size for all the cars. So right now we have built in the fuel tank size of all cars and what is the fuel type for all those cars. So the pricing will be determined basis that the fuel tank size and the kind of fuel that goes into that car to determine how much to charge the guest for fuel shortage. Now, there is a possibility, and I'm not refuting that possibility, that the guests does not indicate the fuel level correctly at the time of checkout. That is a possibility, certainly. Now, in that case, host will have to tell us that the guest there. I found this discrepancy, and we will also run random checks at our end if the photos match what the guests have indicated. But this should resolve, in our view, a majority of the problem wherein guests return the car at a lower fuel level. The other point is that we are also going to, as I explained, launch fuel inclusion. So what is fuel inclusion? Currently, guests have to refuel for every trip. They will also have the option of buying fuel inclusion at the time of booking their trip. This fuel inclusion will be mandatory for all hourly trips. So less than 24 hours, they will have, there's no option but to continue with fuel inclusion. For longer trips, for trips greater than 1 day, they will have the option to add on fuel inclusion for convenience. There will be 3 price tiers for fuel inclusion. We'll come back on the price tiers very shortly, and hosts will be able to choose the price tier for their car. So Jake will be able to choose a different fuel inclusion pricing for his car versus Ben, versus Gaurav, versus Sandy, versus Peter, versus everyone. Everybody can choose their own fuel pricing. There will be 3 tiers. Pricing tiers we will share soon. But let me share an example on how this could look like, right? On the left, current scenario is a $70, let's say your daily price is $70 and the trip duration is 24 hours and the distance driven is 100 kilometers. Let's assume that for a moment. In the current scenario, your time and distance earnings are 75% of $70. Suppose you don't have BVI, so you have 75% of $70, which is 52.5. Your total earnings are 52.5, and the guest returns the car at the same level as the car. So that is your earning right now. If the guest chooses a fuel inclusion add-on, and let's assume hypothetically the fuel inclusion pricing is 45 cents per kilometer, and I'm not saying for a moment that is the pricing. I'm just taking that as an example. DriveMate's share is 8 cents out of that. So the host earns 37 cents per kilometer. So you will earn total earnings of 89.5, and the guest will not refuel the tank. And whatever the guest refuels, they will give us the fuel receipt and we will deduct it from your earnings, right? So out of 89.5, we will deduct whatever the guest has filled in the fuel tank, pretty much the way it used to work with UCS. However, that 45-cent charge is only for fuel. It's not for fuel and distance. It's only for fuel, right? So we will come up with 3 tiers on fuel, which will most likely depend upon, you can choose, okay, what is the fuel inclusion pricing you want for your own car. And I'll just stop here, Ben, and I'm pretty sure there are plenty of questions here, and I want to answer them.
Look, the biggest question, which has been asked multiple times, is why are we not simply using the UCS model? It seems to work well for most people. So let's confront that one head on.
Yeah, sure. And we have been asked that question a couple of times. We believe that there is the inherent model of your daily price carrying included mileage of 150 kilometers a day is convenient also convenient and flexible for guests as well. That is the reason we have built that. Now, in some cases, the guests drive less than 150. In some cases, the guests drive more than 150. They get charged, they will drive less than 150. It's your game, right? On fuel, again, we do acknowledge the challenge, but we believe that the current pricing model that DriveMate has at this point helps the guests, gives them a lot more flexibility on the distance, and it's not that they have to worry about the distance that they travel. And I know everybody's used to on the per kilometer charge for distance and fuel, but that is something, as you can see right now, that we do understand for shorter trips that possibly is the right approach, but for longer trips, for multi-day trips, that can be pretty punishing for guests as well. And hence this model of where they can choose to add fuel for longer trips. For shorter trips, they have to choose fuel inclusion. And that may not be the most satisfactory answer for you right now, but at this stage, that is the best I have.
Let's not forget, guys, that per kilometer cost, there were lots of upsides to it, but it was also a barrier to guests. I've had multiple guests complaining, why can't there just be a kilometers included? So like you can't keep all the people happy all of the time. Some guests don't like paying a cost per kilometer. They'd be really happy with 150 included. Others not. So we have to make a decision one way or the other. And at the moment, that 150 is not really under scrutiny. We're looking at multiple other things, and right now that's not one of them.
Yeah. So some people have this. There is. Let's just look at a few questions.
There's looking at another. We've been asked many times is and this is across a lot of cars, is that the fuel tank shows as full for the first 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 kilometers. How do we work around that? And
so that is exactly what we are trying to solve with shorter trips. For shorter trips, they don't have to return back to the same fuel level. They'll be charged per kilometer on fuel. So it's as simple as that. So the moment, let's say they drive 30 kilometers and you choose a particular price, they will be charged for fuel for that price, for that duration. So that solves the problem. The moment they go beyond a day, your fuel and they drive more, your fuel indicator will move for sure.
And what rate would we be charging fuel at? Where would we get the pricing for that to on charge it?
Yeah. So that's what I said. There'll be 3 pricing tiers for fuel, and the host will have the option to select the pricing for their fuel inclusion pricing for their car at a car level. So Jake can have something else for his car. You can have, and DriveMate will have a fee out of it, but you can choose your own fuel price for your own car.
Yeah, sorry, that was the question there was, will the system be updated live with current fuel prices? But actually that's not, we're refunding based on kilometers, not based on liters of fuel.
We are refunding basis, we are charging basis kilometers and we are refunding basis the fuel receipt, right? Refunding to guests if they put on, so what happens, let's say a guest drives 100 kilometers, for example, and there is a fuel charge to them basis the distance driven by them, right? However, they do end up refueling, so we'll repay them basis the fuel receipt they include. That's the way it works.
Another question was around how to ensure that the guests put in the right grade of fuel.
Yeah, I think we have answered this question before. How did it happen at UCS? The way to do it is that, the kind of stickers that you have on your car on asking people to put in the right level of fuel, right kind of fuel. The another thing that we're implementing in the pickup and drop off instructions is to clearly mention the kind of fuel it is, because we have to have preventive measures on this rather than having post facto measures. Post facto is if they put in the wrong fuel, there's a penalty for it, definitely, and the penalty is on the help center. However, the stickers and the instructions in the app are the ones to go by when it comes to the fuel level, the type of fuel. Jonathan has this question of what about getting the fuel consumption from OBD? Jonathan, that is a good question. And if you were to really ask me, that is the ultimate goal of having the fuel consumption from OBD. However, that is much easier said than done, because for reading the fuel level of a car, the system has to, the device has to read the data from the CAN bus of the car. And for it to read CAN bus of the data of different car models, it will just take a lot more time for us to make all cars data compatible for the device to be read. So hence, at this stage, we will not be able to use that. But in the future, yes, that's the goal, to determine fuel level from the OBD directly, so that all of this stuff stops. Yeah, so some anonymous attendee has mentioned that they need a what if analysis from an industry expert. I don't know exactly what you mean by an industry expert. Definitely we are not the industry experts. However, what I would suggest, guys, is that and that's why we have been very cautious in saying that this is a solution that we are working towards, the solution which goes live the solution that goes live on 1st of November, right? But there's plenty of scope for feedback, guys. And that is the reason for this session, right? So this is, we are, as you can see, we have demonstrated that we are very flexible and we are very open to hearing all suggestions and then taking everybody together and trying to figure out a policy that works for both hosts and guests. And that is the intent of the discussion today also, right? This is and that's why I mentioned solution in progress. If there is something that you don't agree with, right, and you have a strong opinion for, please share with us. That is the intent of the session, right? This is nothing is cast in stone, right? yes, we're working towards a solution, and we collectively believe this is what we've discussed with different hosts and people, that this is the right solution. But if you can help us tweak this to make this friendly for everyone, not just for the host but also the guests, then it's great, right? Then we make this a win-win for everyone. But and there is no simple answer to this. But as you can see, the intent from us is not, oh, our fuel policy is just same to same and we are not going to do anything about it. You can clearly see that we are taking steps to make sure your concerns are addressed. They may not have been addressed right away fully, but we are trying to take the steps in the right direction, is what I can say.
I think because this is the first time we've shared our fuel policy. We've got dozens and dozens of questions, and a lot of them are sort of asking the same thing in slightly different ways. I think let us take on board everybody's feedback. After these sessions, we collate all of them. I'm not saying we won't try and answer some specific questions now, but we will this is the first time we've road tested the fuel policy with you hosts. Let us take all of these questions and all the feedback on board, and come to you. As Gaurav said, this is not set in stone. There's a little bit of runway between now and November 1st, and if there are things that are demanded and that we can action and make and tighten up, then we absolutely will.
Yeah, but I think Ben, because I have just two more slides after this, but I want to spend a few minutes. I'm just reading through some questions, and I want to take those questions as we go along, and then we can, of course, answer those later. So somebody had this fantastic question on electric cars, right? Now, on electric cars, we actually do the same thing in Singapore as well, wherein we mandate fuel inclusion for electric cars, and there's a price that we charge per kilometer on electric cars, right? That we have found that solution to work well. So one possible solution on electric cars is to mandate fuel inclusion for electric cars. And again, by fuel in electric cars, we mean the charge. Yeah, but I think let's make a note of both the electric cars and also the hybrids, because somebody did mention hybrids as well. On what is the solution around electric and hybrid cars. Let's come back on that to you. So yes. Okay, why can't you make option available to host to make mark fuel as inclusion? So I20, who is that handle is that you are indicating that the host should decide what fuel inclusion, that for their whether fuel inclusion is mandatory for their car or not. That's a debatable point, guys. We are also trying to make a solution which works well for guests, so they have the option whether they want the convenience of paying for fuel upfront or want to refuel it. Right, that's the convenience we want to give the guests and the flexibility we want to give the guests. Your point taken. I'm not saying complete no to this, but that's the answer to that question that you just asked. Gray Stokes have mentioned. Now, see, again, this whole point will come back, right? If you have fuel inclusion, then the conversation is, oh, people will fill in the wrong fuel and give us a fraud receipt. There is possibility of fraud either ways, right? People returning fuel less or people filling it with the wrong fuel. We have to just plug the gap from everywhere. We will not have the best of both worlds, right? That is also a challenge. Let's say. Yeah, so fuel inclusion, we do think fuel inclusion will solve a lot of problems that people are facing. But at the end of the day, we also have to think about the guests, wherein if they want fuel inclusion, again, for hourly trips, I'm again saying our solution in progress is the hourly trips. It has to be mandatory because it's very difficult for them to determine how much to fill the tank for a 50-kilometer ride. So it is very difficult. So hence, that is very prohibitive. So for hourly trips, for vans and utes which are getting driven for 3-4 hours, fuel inclusion is always mandatory, always, right? That's how it will be from 1st of November. But for rest of the cars, they will have for rest of the trips, they will have an option. Okay. So Sandy has asked this question. This still doesn't offer visibility of what fuel has been placed into the vehicle. Should the guest opt to refuel themselves? I've already had one incident with DM of petrol in a diesel tank, so I would feel more comfortable. What fuel? So Sandy, I think what you're suggesting is that we mandate fuel receipt at the end of the trip. I think that's a point that has been raised by many hosts.
Yeah.
And maybe Ben, we can make a note of that point, and Sandy, your point is taken on board. That we should mandate people on what fuel they have put in. We can put in a lot of checks and balances for the guests, and we can ask them to upload multiple things. Although I do agree somewhere that possibly we should have the fuel receipt uploaded by the guest. We also have to manage the guest convenience, that if we ask them to do too many things and pick up and drop off, then the whole process might just become too impossible for them to do. But at the same time, I do see your point. So let's make a note of it and see how we can make it as smooth as possible, and giving you the peace of mind that you need also.
David made a good point, which is he said never had a borrower complain about fuel receipts and over 300 borrows, and I must say I haven't either. So that's definitely something for us to take on board. If people are claiming something back to be reimbursed, they tend not to have a problem photographing the receipt.
Yeah. So I'll take 2-3 more questions out of this list, and I'm trust me, I'm not choosing the easy ones. For some reason, I cannot see the questions you're reading out. I don't know why it is. Let me just see the setting. Okay, I've changed it now, so you can see. You can see all the questions, guys. Sorry, whoever that anonymous attendee is, to see the questions that everybody is raising. So I hope you can see them right now. No, so I'm not assuming that you're not taking the guest point of view. We are not assuming that. So yeah, I think somebody has asked this question. Yeah, so people are saying mandatory fuel receipts. Point taken. Let's take that home. Somebody did mention on the dashcam how privacy and data laws are managed. That's a good point. Let us come back to you on that. We'll have to, because you're 100% right. With dashcam, there is a question on privacy as well. But I'm pretty sure we can work around that. But let's come back on that to you. It seems your calculation is wrong. With fuel calculation, daily price would be $20 a day. No. So again, I just want to clarify. Fuel is on top. The $70 that you charge. Is time and distance charge, not fuel. So let's say if they choose fuel, the $70 is completely time and distance. So $70 is 24 hours and 150 kilometers. That's what it is, right? Fuel is on top of it, right? So either they buy fuel or either they return at the same fuel level. That's how the concept works, very simply, right? So it is not about, I don't know how you arrived at that point of $20 per day, but yeah, that's not correct. It is still $70 in this example. We are open to creating. This is the dedicated group on. This is the dedicated group on all discussions, guys. So if you have some questions and some suggestions, please use the discussion forum that we have on this Facebook event that we have. That is precisely the point. And if there is a smaller group that wants to come together to give us feedback, extremely open to it. And I don't think I can stress that enough. And we have already demonstrated that, right? In a lot of things that we are doing, right? People had the challenge with devices. We did open it with BYOD basis, a lot of suggestions that we got from people. So it is completely open, right? I mean, we're happy to consider everything. Sorry, why is there not an option to secondary GPS on Bestmates? Paolo, I don't know why you're not seeing that secondary option to add secondary GPS on Bestmates. There should be one. If you don't have one, I will get the team to look into this. straight away. And maybe Jake, maybe we can get one of our team, good team members to give Paolo a call and fix that for him, right, straight away.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep, thanks. Alrighty.
Just to sorry, I'll just scroll right back up to the top of the questions because I missed a really good one, and we've been asked this a couple of different ways from a couple of different people. If a vehicle is out of mobile range, whether in a car park or out in the country, is that going to be problematic for the auto plug and Drive Make Go functionality when that launches?
That's a great point you make, and I'm glad somebody asked that question. So there are two ways the device works. One is via the SIM card, and for which it depends upon the mobile connectivity. And the second is Bluetooth on your phone, right? So if the SIM card doesn't work, it defaults to Bluetooth. So you can, if you go 2 levels down in a basement car park, it will still work because it has a Bluetooth connected to the car, right? The device also has Bluetooth, and your phone's Bluetooth, it will just sync up with that as a fallback to unlock the car. Hope that answers the question. Yeah. Okay, let's just see. Yeah, I think some point is the 150 kilometers, scrap it, satisfy owners, let owners satisfy borrowers with pricing. JP, I think we've discussed this point. At this point, there is no plan to scrap the 50 kilometers. There have been suggestions about letting people choose a lower mileage limit of 125, 150, 100, or 75. That point is taken on board, and we let us come back on what we can do on that in the immediate future. But what I would really encourage is to have a debate on this fuel policy, right? And what we are proposing here, and share your thoughts on how we can make this work, make it easy for both the hosts and the guests to make it work. The solution is, I know some of you think the solution is just to go back to the UCS way of pricing, but we think that way of pricing also takes away the flexibility from the guests in terms of the daily distance that we are allowing them right now on the price that you charge. But keep the suggestions coming in, and what I can definitely promise is that we are very flexible when it comes to and very open to listening to what you guys have to say and taking things seriously. Okay. Yeah, somebody had a question. No, that's not a silly question, Greystox. Or why do you have to choose between crank or push start? The only reason you have to choose between crank or push start is that we are giving the instructions to guests in the app on what to do to start the car. We tell them, oh, this is a crank start or push start. That's the reason we ask you, right? That's the only reason we do that. So Michael Padmanson has said the auto plug does not default to Bluetooth. In my 2 years of experience with 11 cars, possible that they didn't integrate the Bluetooth UCS. I don't know whether UCS integrated the Bluetooth, but we are. So the first version that comes on the 1st October will not have Bluetooth integration. But by end of October, we will integrate Bluetooth as well. Because we know, we have studied the auto plug. The auto plug has Bluetooth functionality. The DriveMate Go 3.0 that is coming up, that also has Bluetooth functionality. And the reason for having Bluetooth functionality is precisely the point that somebody made, that what if it is out of range? How will it work? The only way it will work is Bluetooth. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
It's a good question from JP. Sorry, just to clarify around fuel and kilometers. Will I be able to choose not to have 150 kilometers included and just charge per kilometer from the 1st of November? So every trip, not just short trips.
No, so let me clarify this again. The solution that we have proposed is that from 1st of November, let's say somebody takes a 3-day trip, right? Their allowed mileage, and let's say your price is $100. Their price, the price that they will be charged is $300, right? 3 into $100 for 3 days, and it will come with 450 kilometers included. So they are paying for 300 kilometers, with $300, they are paying for 450 kilometers included for 3 days. That is what it is. On top of it, if they choose fuel inclusion, they will pay for fuel separately, right? If they don't choose fuel inclusion, they have to return the car back at the same level. And hope that answers the question. It is that charge is not a distance and a fuel charge. That charge is only a fuel charge.
There's a good question on this topic about can we make the fuel add-on as an option available for hosts to select as opposed to guests to select, which is actually a really clever idea. I don't know if we're ready to answer that just now, but that's definitely something to think about. If I've understood the question correctly, can a host specify it for their cars as opposed to the guest choosing it?
Sure, agreed. Point taken. We've taken the feedback. I just want to also address this question from Michael, that he's saying that they called from borrowers who could not open auto using Bluetooth, and that's the point I'm making, Michael. Does Autoplug have the functionality to open the car through Bluetooth? The answer is yes. Did Uber integrate in their app Bluetooth functionality to open the car through the Uber app via Bluetooth? I don't know that. So that's what I'm saying. We are building that, and that will be available from 1st of November. But from 1st of October, you'll be able to open the Autoplug from your app, from the DriveMate app through the SIM card connectivity. Later, it will be with Bluetooth. I'm not sure why UCS didn't integrate the Bluetooth if they did not. But I can certainly tell you that what we have seen with Autoplug, it has the Bluetooth functionality inbuilt. But for it to work, the app which is interacting with the Bluetooth with the Autoplug also needs to have that enabled. Does it? We don't know why UCS didn't activate Bluetooth. Let me tell you, in Singapore, we already have our DriveMate Go 2.0 devices working on Bluetooth as well, not just SIM card. So I don't know why they didn't do this Bluetooth activation. I'm not in a position to answer that question, but we know for a fact that Bluetooth can work with this, and very securely. But somebody may think, and I got a question from somebody, what about security? Keyless access, of course, nothing is cast in stone, nothing is foolproof, but it is the most secure solution you have for your car when it comes to accessing the car. Okay, maybe 3 more questions we can take. Okay, sorry, let me just move on to the next point first, and because this is important. From 1st of October, right, you will be able to set an hourly price for your cars as well. Currently, you have a daily price for your car. So somebody sets $70, somebody sets $90, somebody sets $100. Fine, you'll be able to set an hourly price for your car also. So basically, what we are trying to say is hourly trips will start becoming available from 1st of October. Minimum booking duration will be 2 hours. There will be mandatory fuel inclusion, and the daily price will get applied after 6 hours. So after 6 hours, the daily price will kick in. You will also be able to enter a 3-day, 7-day, 2-week, and a bi-monthly discount for the guests. You will also be able to enter that, right? Currently, it's a 7-day and a bi-monthly, and I know there's a mismatch between app and web, which we are fixing. But on pricing, basically, as we have said, as per the roadmap, that hourly trips will become available from 1st of October, and you'll be able to set your hourly price. Yeah. There is, okay, there are 72 questions open, by the way. So, yeah, let me just take a few more questions.
A lot of similar questions around the fuel component. So,
yeah. So on fuel, I think there is definitely a lot of open questions, and what I would encourage is that on the discussion group of today's chat, today's event on Facebook, if we can have a debate around that, I think that would be helpful, and we will also come back to you with an answer to the questions that you have asked, which you have not addressed in the chat today.
Gaurav, I was going to say, go to that next slide, because there's some new news here that we wanted to share with everybody, but you're already on that slide.
Yeah. So sorry, new news on around the hourly trips?
Yeah.
Yeah. So already shared that, right? So hourly trips are happening. So just wanted a quick update on the rolling roadmap that we have, right? Uh, as I said, DriveMed Go 3.0 field trials are starting early October. So if some of you are interested, please let our team know that you're interested for test field trials on DriveMed Go. Very happy to do that. We've already spoken about what we're doing on advertising. You're seeing some of the campaigns, PR campaigns. You're seeing advertising campaigns. I'm sure a lot of you are seeing them already. Fleet insurance, this date is 20th September. So you will be able to select it in the product from 20th of September. And your pricing will depend upon the three factors that I spoke about: claims, value, and whether you have a dash cam or not. I know we have to come back to some of the questions on dash cams privacy laws, but let us take that question. Hardware integration, we've already started getting details from you. Our team is working round the clock on integrated. So our first priority this month, our biggest priority this month, is to get your hardware devices working in the app, right? Whether it's the lockbox, whether it's the auto plug, whether it's the primary or the secondary GPS, making them work in the app. That is what we are completely focused on right now. There is a new trip dashboard coming up by the end of the month, which will give you a faster and cleaner view of your trips. A lot of you have requested features. I've seen a lot of conversations around pickup and drop of flow. What I can assure you is that we're working on a new pickup and drop of flow. I gave you a preview of that around the fuel thing, but by the end of this month, you will have a new pickup and drop of flow, which should take care of, let's say, some of the questions that people have said. Oh, I'm not able to take a picture with a flash, right? Why are you only asking 4 exterior pictures? Why not 10? Yes, and yes. Why can't hosts add their own pictures? Yes. Why can't guests end trip early? Yes. When I'm saying yes, what I mean is that we are fixing all of that in the new pickup drop flow, right? So your concerns and your questions are all being taken very seriously, and we are building that in. In the next couple of days, we are going to roll out, instead of doing the voting on the Facebook groups, we are going to integrate the feature request thing in the app only. So you can request any new feature that you want, and you can also vote on features that you want, right? And there has been some debate around trip extensions, on why trip extensions why do I have to approve trip extension? Auto approval of trip extensions will go live by end of this month. I know a lot of things are going live at the end of this month, and some of the things will start going live even before that, but we're just putting everything together for the end of this month. Some of you have had some nagging issues on trip extensions. Those things are also being ironed out. So this is what you can expect in September, folks. And I don't know, Ben, do we have any more questions, pressing questions?
There's an excellent question here from James. Does the DriveMate fee of $12 still apply to hourly trips?
So I know James has asked two questions, right? One is the $12 fee for hourly trips and the $12 fee for long-term trips. We are actively looking at both, of reducing the first, which is the hourly trips, and increasing not reducing the first, changing the first. And definitely for longer trips, we do think that $12 fee has to go down for the guests. But I must also tell you one thing here, very frankly, and you can appreciate what we're trying to do here, that being completely transparent in terms of what we're charging the end guest, to the guest, versus some of the other platforms where you don't even know what they are paying for. So our fee is extremely transparent, and I'm telling you, for the longer trips, we'll definitely looking to reduce the $12 fee, because if the hosts are giving a discount, we should also contribute to it. That's the way we look at it. For hourly trips, we'll have to come back on the $12 fee, because we just have to work out some of the numbers, because shorter trips tend to have maybe a slightly higher risk when it comes to insurance, and hence we'll have to look at the pricing.
Two great questions just come through. Are we considering allowing hosts to set a minimum trip duration of, for example, 4 days, which we know is something that Turo does at the moment?
I understand. That suggestion is taken. Will that go live immediately? No. But that is something that we are actively considering. We have received that suggestion from many hosts also, maybe some hosts don't want to allow hourly trips. So currently, we will be able to Currently, we already have that feature that you can deactivate hourly trips. You don't want hourly trips on your cars. Some people don't want to get into the hassle of 3-4 hour trips possible, and
Yep.
you will be able to do that. But to define, let's say I only want at least 7-day trips or at least 5-day trips, that feature will take some time, but surely in the works.
A good question on BBI. What happens if the 2,000 kilometer is exceeded by the owner's usage?
That's a good question. If the 2,000 kilometers exceeded, I'm sure there's a charge. And Jake, maybe we need to come back on that question. I don't have an answer to that immediately on the top of my head.
Guys, just with the BBI, obviously we're working directly with the insurer and relaying any associated costs on. So what we can do is speak to the insurance company tomorrow and ask that question. It's a good one.
And then just a question which we half touched on earlier, but might just be worth recapping for clarity. Will the installation of the auto plug require the breaking of the second key? Is it true, or can they just clone the chip without destroying the second key?
I think I already answered that question before, but for convenience, I'll also answer that again. Currently, the way auto plug is being installed does require breaking the key. That's how UCS did it, and we are going to take that cost irrespective. We'll just charge the car owner a $100 installation fee if there's a fee related with the key that we are going to cover. We have an alternate mechanism on how to install the auto plug, which is directly through the central locking system without having to break a key. It again depends on the car. So the simple answer to that question is that you don't have to worry about the key. We will take care of that, whether it is cloning or making a new key and then destroying it to plug it into the auto plug, or using a central locking system. What else, Ben? Do we have anything else?
There's it's a similar question. One of my cars only has one key. Well, I need a second key for the remote $30 plan. I would just say as a host, it's very dangerous only having one key, because if you lose that, it's considerably more expensive than getting a second key cut from your first key.
Right. And yeah, absolutely. You should have a second key for yourself, and we'll get the third key and put and install the auto plug ourselves. That will not cost you, if that's the answer, if that's the question.
Look, there's lots and lots of unanswered questions, but I think they're tending to be things that we've either already answered or that we've said, look, we're taking on board and we'll need to revert.
Yeah. So just a quick recap of a few things that we said. There are plenty of questions around lockboxes and Bestmates plan and the devices. Let's make what basis your questions. We'll make a master list of a help. We'll make a help article only on the device management and the plan selection. Maybe that's one idea, Ben and Jake, we need to do. So this is a master list of all questions wherein we can find all your answers there. That's number one.
Yeah.
The second thing is BBI. BBI again will be available for selection from 20th of September. And there are a few unanswered questions on the BBI. One is the dashcam covered, or what if I install dashcam later? Although I answered that question, if you selected dashcam later, your pricing will change, and you can indicate in the app. And the BBI will become available for selection from 20th of September, and we'll let you all know by email and also on the Facebook groups. The third big point is the most controversial point, is the fuel policy. As I said, we have seen your concerns. One suggestion that has come in is that mandate fuel receipts being taken very seriously. We'll come back on that. The new fuel policy will go into effect from 1st of November. So we still have some time, guys, to take on your suggestions on board. But our current solution in progress is basically letting guests indicate the fuel level through the new check-in, check-out flow, and having a fuel inclusion add-on, right? Which will be mandatory for hourly and not non-optional for long-term, for greater than 1-day trips. But again, if there are any serious, this is a lot of feedback coming in. I can assure you we'll take all of the feedback on board. We'll be able to accept everyone's feedback, possibly not. but we'll consult all of you, right? So feel free to, and you've shared a lot of ideas already. So on hourly trips, starting 1st of October, you'll be able to select hourly trips for hourly price for your card. You can also switch on or off the hourly trips. And yeah, later, and you can also set up 3-day, 7-day, 15-day, 7-day discounts for your cards. But yeah, so coming up this week, BVI, that's the focus. And we'll try and resolve all your questions on the devices and the subscription plans. And we'll share a recording of this meeting with all of you. Thanks a lot today for taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend this session and for very practical and very insightful discussion. Let us come back to you guys with answers to the questions that we did not answer, and more on that next week in the Monday session. Yeah.
Thanks
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Just to
Yeah,
clarify
thanks everyone.
how we're
No, people are still there. Huh?
oh, okay, sorry. Just wanted to clarify how we're going to share the information from today. So we'll share the slides, and then something we did last week, which we got positive feedback on, was we are developing a blog post just about today's session. So we'll have the slides and we'll have the questions that have been asked and answered, and we'll try and answer many of the questions that we haven't answered as well. And we'll have that blog post live within 48 hours. And we will share that in the event discussion notes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Thank you
Good
all.
questions there, guys.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Cheers.